Welcome back to Restore Thrive. I'm Dr. Tim Cummings, and I'm here today to talk to you about our movement archetypes. What is a movement archetype and why is that important? So we think the movement archetypes are the fundamental positions that every athlete should be able to get into, whether we're talking about a start position or a finish position. And what we're going to start with today is our first upper body movement archetype. It's what we call the overhead position. Overhead position has a lot to do with that ability to position your arms in such a way that your shoulder is stable. So if we're talking about lifting or being in the gym, it's that ability to press something overhead or to hang from the bar or to catch the bar if we're talking about an Olympic lift in an overhead position. If we're talking about sport, in a sport that requires throwing or catching overhead, if we talk about swimming, if we talk about a sport like tennis, volleyball, any sport that requires you to get overhead requires that you have that full capacity through your shoulder when your arm goes overhead. So our overhead test is really simple. What we want to do is have you start with your feet underneath your hips, standing nice and tall, arms starting by your side with your thumbs pointed forward. From here, all you're going to do is raise both arms straight overhead. From the front, we should see that your elbows are straight, they're not flared out to the sides, and that nothing changes in your posture. When we look from the side, what we'll see as we go overhead is that the back should stay straight, meaning we shouldn't arch our back backwards. And as our arms go up, if we have normal range of motion here, we should see our upper arm covering our ear and still being able to keep our elbow straight and our thumb pointed back in that position. So you can give that a try at home as you're watching this video. If you pause the video, if you find that you can't get in this position, what we want you to do is try a couple simple mobility interventions to improve your overhead position. So here's what we're going to start with today. All you need for this is a simple foam roll. These are pretty easy to find in most gyms. The first thing we want to go over is making sure you've got that normal range of motion through your middle and upper back. This is what we call your thoracic spine. If you're stuck in a rounded forward position, you're going to have a hard time getting your arm all the way overhead. So the first one we like to do is just a simple what we call T-spine extension and rotation drill. So what we'll do is position this foam roll just at the base of your rib cage. You're going to start with your hands behind your head to support your head and neck. And you can go one of two ways. You can either let your upper back arch over the roll, and when you get here, you should be able to take a full breath in and out, and then come back up. You can do that repeatedly, back and forth, and slide yourself up a level at a time, assessing how that feels as you extend forward and backwards, or you can work on rotating to the right or to the left in assessing, do I feel tighter on the right side or tighter on the left side? Once we've spent about 2 minutes working on that rib cage and thoracic spine, we want to attack what we call your lateral seam. That's the tissue that sits under your arm and runs down your side. To do this, all we're going to do is come all the way over onto your side. That foam roll is going to start right below your armpit. Your arm can start right in front of your body. And all we'll do from here is roll either a little bit up or a little bit down. And then to make sure that we've got that normal movement through the tissue, we'll take that arm on the bottom and try to bring it all the way up overhead with your palm rotated up to the ceiling and then come back down. If we've got, again, normal tissue mobility, we should be able to fully extend or raise our arm overhead. If that tissue feels tight or sore or tender or makes you close your eyes or grit your teeth, we have found a spot that needs a little work, and we recommend any spot that you compress where you feel a little tension, you spend at least 2 minutes working on that spot to open it up. So make sure you work this lateral seam smash on both sides, right and left. And then our last piece is going to involve a jump stretch band. For this, you need something like a pull-up bar or a door to fix a band into. What we'll do here is put your elbow into the band. You're going to take your hand and wrap your fingers around the band, and then you're gonna turn your back to the band and step forward. So you can see as I step forward, my arm's getting pulled up, but my elbow's starting to flare out. So I'm gonna use my free hand to pull that elbow in, and then step forward and lean forward and push into the band. So what we're doing here is we're mobilizing in what we call a position of emphasis or a position of restriction. This is that overhead position where you're working to improve that range of motion. So once you've pulled down on the band for about 5 seconds, let the band pull your arm back. You should be able to take a full inhale and exhale breath. And you'll feel that arm relaxing a little bit more if you can get that full exhale. You'll contract and relax like that at least 3 or 4 times, where you pull down to contract, hold for 5 seconds, and then relax, exhale, hold that position for a good 10 seconds. And what we should notice after we've done those 3 interventions is if we retest that overhead position now, and I bring my right arm up, I can feel, and you guys might even be able to see a difference right versus left in terms of how well I'm able to raise my arms overhead. So give these mobilizations a try at home. If you have any more questions about how to improve your range of motion or your performance, you can find us at restorethrive.com.